Before we begin, I want to say a quick disclaimer. Please watch this entire video before commenting something in the comment section. I am not here to trash this game, nor am I here to suck up to this game. I have played over 100 hours, I've completed both of the main Easter eggs, and I've gotten to over round 100 on each map. These are the honest thoughts from someone who has been playing zombies since the launch of Black Ops 2. And without any more BS, let's get with the review. So, Black Ops 6 is finally here, and with it has come a lot of talk and discussion. Is this the next best zombie game? A simple marked improvement over its modern system contemporaries? Or the next blunder in the zombies catalog? Let's start with the good. La da da da, 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, starting off, we need to discuss how amazing the core gameplay experience is. In terms of running, shooting, and interacting with the game's world, this is hands down the best in the series so far. This is mainly driven by the Omni movement system. While you will rarely, if ever, dolphin dive or slide with Omni movement, you will be running a lot, and having the ability to sprint in any direction without losing speed feels fantastic. Honestly, after playing Black Ops 6 for the last few weeks, all the old zombie games almost feel stiff in comparison, and I honestly can't see a zombie game without Omni movement from now on. That's just how good the system is. Continuing on, guns sound and feel top-notch as well. Every single gun has a unique feel to it, and even weapons in the same class feel different. A marked improvement from older games, and even something more recent like Cold War zombies. Everything here feels perfectly up to the task. But having a great feeling game can't fix bad maps. But I'm happy to report that both the launch maps in Black Ops 6 are good, those maps being Terminus Island and Liberty Falls. And let's start with Terminus, the hardcore launch experience of Black Ops 6 zombies. Terminus is a series of small islands that is being approached by a hurricane, and the map, although at nighttime, looks beautiful and varied. From the moonlit sky to the shiny and messed up laboratory area, and even the sandy beaches of the mini islands surrounding the main play space, everything looks amazing and is a real beauty to look at. In addition, the layout of Terminus is pretty simple. A large center island as your main area to acquire resources, surrounded by several mini islands. The main island has both an above ground section with most of the open space and traps, and a lower cave system with a laboratory area, containing the Pack-a-Punch and both of the best armor locations on the map. Both of these areas are connected with two fast travel options to get to the upper and lower levels of the island. The Pack-a-Punch moves up and down and can be called at any time after a cooldown, and is ziplined from the dock all the way to the Elemental Pop perk location. While this doesn't sound like enough, both fast travel locations are placed extremely well. Anytime you leave the main island, you will naturally end up near one of these two fast travel options. So the limited amount is never an issue. Of course, you can always just jump the railing or just run to wherever you need to go. It's not that big a deal. To get to these mini islands, you can buy a boat from one of the many different locations. Just look near any body of water and you'll usually just find a buyable right next to it. But a map isn't complete without its wonder weapon, and on Terminus we are given the Beam Smasher. While this isn't the most damage heavy wonder weapon we've ever seen, it more than makes up for it with its alternate fire mode, the Hypno Ray. Not only does it completely stun normal and special zombies, it also slows the map's elite enemy, the Amalgamation, to a crawl. Not to mention increases the damage of all weapons to the affected zombies. I love this gun and I think it's a great addition to our growing collection. The Easter egg only improves the experience, and while yes, it's fairly easy and honestly it's kind of short for an Easter egg, the ending boss fight more than makes up for this flaw. To the point that I honestly recommend everyone beat this Easter egg at least once, if only for the boss fight. Not to mention, upon completing an Easter egg, not only will you get every perk in the game, you'll also get a bunch of weapons, points, ammo mods, and heck, even a ray gun most of the time. The map overall is a solid experience and easily an A tier map for me. However, this doesn't mean that the map is flawless. Even though I was just talking about those mini islands, there honestly isn't much of a point to even go to them, I find. Besides doing the free wonder weapon, the main Easter egg, or getting the Wonder Fizz, I find no actual reason to go to them. They really seem pointless, especially if you're a high round player or simply just want to play for fun. I don't see many people going to them, including myself. I basically never go to them for any reason besides that. But we can cover more specific problems with the map in the bad section. For now, let's move on to the next map, Liberty Falls.
There's a place just round the bend. A place by the name of Liberty Falls. 1991's fastest growing town in America, and it's plain to see why.
Liberty Falls is based off the real-life town of Harper's Ferry in West Virginia, and is the much more pick up and just kill some zombies type of map. The map's layout is extremely simple with no extra areas to explore with maybe the exception of the Banks Vault, if you count that. But with this simple layout comes a fantastic zipline system connecting both ends of the map. This map is great for casual players and camo grinding as opposed to Terminus. There isn't much to this map, and I think that's a good thing for all players. Now the simplicity isn't without its downfalls. While yes, the map's visuals is improved from the awful COD Next showcase, I would say the map still looks extremely bland. It has a huge lack of color plaguing the entire map, and the few areas that do have color are few and far between. We will cover more flaws during the negative section, but first let's talk about the returning wonder weapon, the jet gun. After 12 years, the jet gun finally makes its first appearance since Transit, and it does not disappoint. This gun is positively broken, with infinite damage, infinite ammo that can overheat if spammed too much, and even a massive AoE blast as a secondary fire. This blast creates a massive explosion around the player that deals massive amounts of damage to special and elite enemies while instantly killing any normal zombie. The Pack-a-Punch also gives improved ammo management and seems to decrease the recharge timer for your ammo meter. Overall, this might be one of the best wonder weapons to ever appear in Call of Duty Zombies, and is definitely the best in terms of the launch for Black Ops 6 Zombies. Now let's move on to the Easter egg, and well, it's there, I guess? Don't get me wrong, the Easter egg isn't bad and it doesn't subtract from the experience per se, but I have a lot to say about this in the video later on. So for now, I will say that it's passable. And with that, I believe this map belongs as low to mid B tier. Now that these two massive points are out of the way, let's talk about more specific features of Black Ops 6 Zombies, starting with the new augment system. Replacing the upgrade system from Cold War Zombies, augments take its place as the main way to enhance your perks, ammo mods, and field upgrades. Currently, there are 6 augments per item, 3 major augments, and 3 minor ones. You can slot in one of each on every single item listed above for massive improvements or changing the actual functionality. For example, the Juggernog augment Turtle Shell actually transforms your armor into the classic shield from older games. Augments are a great improvement over the simple upgrades of Cold War. Not only do they allow build crafting, and you can actually turn them off when you want to, but augments from one item can actually synergize with an augments from completely different items. For example, the perk Elemental Pop uses all equipped augments from your ammo mods. This allows the player to mix up and match different augments to fit their own playstyle. And with the promise of more field upgrades, perks, and ammo mods coming in the future, the system will only be more fleshed out as time goes on. Let's just hope that the creativity is improved over the course of the DLC cycle, as currently the selection is good, but there are only a few standout augments at the moment. But anyways, next up, let's talk about the save and quit feature. The save and quit feature is the best quality of life feature to be added in Zombies point blank period. The game will allow you to save and quit at any time as long as you are not in a current exfil or under full HP. However, do keep in mind that the save and quit will spawn you at the beginning of the current round that you saved on. So make sure you finish the current round you're on before saving and quitting. Not only is this great for high round players, but I'd say it's even better for the average player. No longer are you confined to your internet, power, or life getting in the way. Anyone can go for high rounds, even if you can only play for an hour or so a day. However, is it perfect? No, it isn't, but we will go over why it's not all sunshine and rainbows later in the video. Anyways, let's now talk about a fan favorite feature returning from Black Ops 3, Gobblegums. Gobblegums are an in-game consumable that usually gives the player some type of an advantage. Whether that be spawning an insta-kill, giving you unlimited ammo for 60 seconds, or just straight up giving you all the perks on the map. These little things are perfect for any level of player. Want to use as many as you want? Well, go into your loadouts and make multiple gun packs and change them on the fly during your game. Or are you the type of player who thinks that this shit is just dumb and you don't want to use them? Well, they're easily ignored at any time. Just don't go up to the Gobblegum machine. The way you get these gums is also been dramatically improved. By simply just playing the game, you will earn them over time. At the end of the round, you will be given a random amount of gobblegums from 1 to 3. These will vary in rarity, and it seems like it doesn't matter what round you're on. I've gotten Perkaholics on round 5, and I've gotten stock options and Killjoys at round 200 plus. In comparison, in Black Ops 3, we had to get gobblegums by gambling. We were given something called Liquid Divinium, and using Liquid Divinium, we would spin these slot machines in 1, 2, or 3 tiers. And I know that some people might be a bit mad that I'm saying this because, oh, you can buy them in the store now directly. Let's just be honest for a moment. Are we really going to complain about us being able to just buy the gobblegums as advertised front and center rather than having 1 or 2 Liquid Divinium left and saying, oh, you know what? It's just $5. It's just $10. I might as well get a few extra Liquid Divinium and then get more gobblegums, right? I don't think anyone in their right mind would actually agree with that. And I certainly know that I don't appreciate the gambling systems myself. But now that that's out of the way, let's touch up on some more rewards that we can get while playing the game. Starting with our zombie mastery camos, these include Mystic Gold, Opal, Afterlife, and the current final mastery camo, Nebula. All of these camos are top tier in my opinion and are all great side objectives for a player to go to. And trust me, as someone who has finished the grind of Nebula 100% base game, it is worth it to me. And honestly, the grind isn't that bad with the exception of a few weapons, namely the GS-45 and the LR sniper rifle. The problem here is that both of these weapons become explosive after pack punching them. So all I ask is that Treyarch to please take into consideration what challenges there are for some weapons, and maybe a slight reduction in some of the headshot challenges, or maybe changing them altogether. Maybe shotguns could get one-shot kills, maybe pistols and sniper rifles, instead of doing 2,000 headshots, we can do maybe something more like 1,000 or 1,500, something to balance out the camo challenges just a little bit better. Next up, the return of Classic Prestige and the new reward system for getting to levels 10 through 50 during your prestige leveling. For those who don't know, the Classic Prestige system is a level system of 1 through 55. Once you beat level 55, you will then have the ability to redo everything all over again and start from level 1. And to incentivize this, you can get blueprints, gobblegums, operator skins, skins for the new set cast members, and a bunch of other stuff. This gives more of a reason for a player to want to prestige besides just showing off. And the fact that these weapons are references to older games or even zombie themed rewards is just the icing on top. Of course, you don't have to do this, but I personally would highly recommend you do. And speaking of the set crew, let's finally talk about the long-awaited return of the set crew in Call of Duty Zombies. Now, while these characters are brand new and still haven't been given the time of day to develop, this should be considered a work in progress point. I would simply like to point out that this feature is back and it is a fantastic thing that it is. And honestly, it seems like the chemistry is there, but we're definitely going to have to see how it plays out. And hopefully they change some of the voice line interactions, because I'm not going to lie, after hearing Weaver talk about Richtofen for the 1000th time, I'm kind of completely over him at this point. But anyway, now rounding out our good section, let's talk about some of the improvements to gameplay. First, let's talk about the improved streamlining of the salvage system. The improved streamlining of the salvage system has been a welcomed addition to the modern zombies formula. Back in Cold War Zombies, we had 2 different types of salvage that draw from zombies, common and rare. These were both used for upgrades and crafting, and were seemingly only there to slow down the player's progression and make newer players confused. In Black Ops 6, we now only have normal salvage. No more spreading out upgrades or pointless waiting for the stupid shit to finally drop. Salvage is now a single drop, and that's how it should be from now on if it's here to stay. Now, whether you hate or like the system is a totally different story, but there is no denying that this was a much needed improvement. Speaking about improvements from Cold War, the Mangler Arm and the Mutant Injector are amazing and shining examples of how score streaks should be in zombies. These are not straight up rips from MP, but instead extensions of the zombies universe. It's a wonderful idea. Why not take the machine parts of a Mangler and use them as weapons? Or heck, just become one. It makes perfect sense for zombies. And the possibilities that this opens up is endless. Really, this is how they should keep adding score streaks, instead of some stupid shit like, I don't know, a grenade launcher or even a death machine. Now, unfortunately, we're not off to a good start with Season 1 seemingly adding a hand cannon, but I mean, you never know, they could add some more zombie stuff. Now let's talk about a neglected feature that has finally made a return in a big way, the unique Pack-a-Punch upgrades. From the GS45s becoming the Mustang and Sallies from previous games, to the SVD becoming a freaking shotgun sniper. Even the upgrades that don't really change the gun entirely are still really cool. For example, the XMG gets faster firing rate as you hold down the trigger, becoming an absolute bullet hose. For those who have played Borderlands 2 and have used a spinny gun, it's something similar to that. These are great additions, and I really hope they add more unique Pack-a-Punch upgrades to existing weapons and to new guns that they add in the future. And please, if they add a crossbow, please make it like the Alpha line. Please just make it have a monkey bomb effect, please, I beg you. Also, a quick side note as I'm currently writing this script about directed mode. For those who don't know, directed mode is a side mode that guides the player through the Easter egg of a certain map. Personally, I have no problem with this and think it's nothing but a good thing for the general player and anyone who just isn't into zombies but wants the rewards. It's also really good for camo grinding, except for maybe the Opal and Nebula challenges. We'll have to see about some strategies going in the future, at least at the time of making this script. And now to tie up the good section, I need to preface this next part before going into the bad section. The devs are listening and making changes that we want. For example, during the writing of the script, they have fixed blueprints and camos not applying to mystery box and wall weapons, which has been happening since the launch of the game. And many weird instability fixes here and there, and a lot more that I can't go over in this video. But now that I have all the positive stuff out of the way, let's talk about the bad. And starting off with our latest entertainment, starting off the bad section, we bring to you our brand new show, Bug Roulette! Have you wanted to experience every single bug to have ever happened in all of gaming in one singular location? Well, look no further, as it seems like Black Ops 6 has damn near every single bug you could possibly want in any single video game. Let's kick this off strong, shall we, folks? We've got visual bugs that you will never be able to unsee for the rest of your time playing this game. We also have glitched guns that are absolutely incredible, and the fact they still haven't patched this after day one is incredible. Please do not fix this, I love it. We also have a special guest from a different game. Yes, the Fog from Dead by Daylight is actually here in Zombies. Wait, the Fog in Dead by Daylight's here, what? Wait. We have SAM trials that literally never go away, and even if you rebuy the SAM trial, it still stays the exact same and does not fix for the entire game. We have split screen apparently not working from multiple reports on Twitter. We have the AFK being completely broken while also being stuck in an ammo cache. Seriously, look at this poor guy. Our contestant seems like he's having a terrible time as he is about to be kicked from inactivity even though he is currently shooting and moving his mouse as much as he can. And there he goes, the game working just as God intended. Or how about our brand new friend Mystic, who seems to have gotten stuck in a wall from an amalgamation, and now he literally cannot move and is falling through the floor to die. Or how about this Noah J stream, where he spent an entire hour or two trying to troubleshoot a crash, where he had to reinstall the game multiple times, and we have absolutely zero idea what caused this. Fantastic, just how the game was intended to be played. We also have the thing. The thing is disturbing. Please get off the show, get off. And of course we have the classics, the Crash galore, and of course our new favorite star in the Call of Duty series, the reset after update, even though we just did the update and restarted the game anyway. Yeah, baby, that's what I'm talking about, dude. That's what I love to see. Just as Call of Duty intended, for every single bug that they patch, it seems like they add another one in its place. Some even more annoying than the last. For example, the sprint button literally not working in my game until I saved and quit. My sprint button is literally not working. I can't sprint, like, at all. Or the zoom effect on your screen from the portals in Liberty Falls literally not going away and giving you the biggest headache of your life. It didn't go away until I saved and quit again. And the piece de resistance, we have our contestants reporting that for some reason they somehow broke tac sprint while reloading. Granted, they fixed it fairly quickly, but the fact that this was even a problem and it was only broken in Zombies really shows to the stability of this game. And I hope you all enjoyed this episode of Bug Roulette, and we hope that you enjoy the rest of this review. And seriously, to make my point come across a bit more, some of these clips that you saw are only a few hours old as of when I'm making this voiceover. So yes, even though I have no doubt that a lot of these issues will be patched, especially the game-breaking ones, you do need to realize if you want to buy this game, you are more than likely going to encounter some of these issues. So if that's a massive turnoff for you, please tread with caution. And unfortunately, it really doesn't stop there because now I have to go into a subsection of bugs, but in its own section, that being the issues with save and quit. There are way too many problems with save and quit just as a whole right now. Number one, the amount of times I have seen save files being corrupted, save files being wrong, where you'll get to like round 60 or whatever, but then it will spawn you back on like round 20, 40, 30. I've had this happen to me once. I only went down like 5 or 10 rounds, but it's still noticeable and really jarring when it happens. There also is a massive issue right now where because the save and quit isn't a proper save and quit, if you crash, DC, or for whatever reason leave the game after you load in, you will lose your save file because you can technically only save and quit one time around. So if you have really bad internet, like you're worried about DCing like every 20 or 30 minutes and you're a high round player, you're shit out of luck. Or if you just have a PC that tends to crash and maybe isn't the best, and even besides some game breaking ones, there are some that actually can affect high round runs or are just kind of funny. One of them, for instance, being it does not matter what round you spawn on. You could be on round 700 for all that I care. The Wonder Fizz will not spawn in on the same round that you currently loaded in. You have to wait until the next round. So if for some reason you go down, guess what? Your Wonder Fizz is not going to be there. You're gonna have to wait for the next round in order for that to respawn. And God forbid if you have to save and quit multiple times a game, because you may have to go the majority of your game without the Wonder Fizz at times. And another one is that wall weapons, their rarity is completely reversed when you save and quit. So you could be on round 200, every single weapon on the wall should be legendary at that point. Well, if you save and quit, all of the weapons will turn back to green for some reason. Granted, at such a high round, it really doesn't matter. But if you're on a lower round, like 25, 30, heck, even 35, that legitimately could be an issue with how the point system is. So keep that in mind. Also, it seems that save files seem to have a much higher tendency to corrupt or just straight up not even exist anymore after updates or even major updates. And keep that in mind when we go into this next section about how online only and the solo pause timer are terrible. I honestly didn't think it would be this big of a problem because when we think about it, most games at this point are online only. Pretty much every single multiplayer game is online only now, and even a lot of its solo elements are also dependent on server stability and also having an internet connection. Think of stuff like Destiny, World of Warcraft, or even Final Fantasy. But holy shit, the ability to lag in solo play and the fact that I can say to you all with confidence, I have died multiple times because of something I couldn't control in zombies is beyond infuriating. That's one of the things that I loved about zombies is that when you made a mistake, it was your mistake and there was nothing to blame. You couldn't blame connection. You couldn't blame a damn thing except yourself and the circumstances that led you to that problem. But now the fact I can lag and it genuinely kill me and there's nothing I can do about it is such a head scratcher to me because we figured this out in Cold War. We still had local play offline. Why didn't we keep that? I'm serious. Even if it's a more dumbed down version of the game, I don't care. I like this game enough to where I would be fine with that. Let me play in an environment that doesn't have to be online only. That in combination with this stupid solo pause timer. For those who don't know, in solo, you have a 15-minute pause timer. If you go over this time limit, the game will automatically save and quit for you. However, notice in the previous point, if you go over that 15-minute pause timer, the pause will just stop for some reason, and then the zombies will act like you never paused to begin with, and then they'll just kill you while you're away. It doesn't save and quit again, you're done. Basically, the game's over. Unless you're right there as soon as that 15-minute pause timer is done, you're dead, and that's it. GG, game over. And combine that with the fact it's 15 minutes long, realistically, you could be doing anything and 20 minutes have passed and you wouldn't have even realized it. Oh, what's that? Your significant other or your family asked you to do something for them and now your save file's gone because it took you 16 minutes instead of 15 to do it? Well, too bad, bucko. Restart the game now. The fact you are making me give credit to Vanguard, which had a 2-hour pause timer, is insane to me. There's no way it's that big of a strain on servers, right? Because all of that then again ties into the next point, which is the fact that High rounds in this game, and this is going to come as a shocker to many of you, they fucking suck. I would actually say I'm close to hating the high rounds in this game, personally. And as someone that does stupid challenges on my channel to round 50 in Black Ops 2, like the SMR, the B23R in the Olympia, that's saying something. I'll go over individual problems with high rounds a bit later on, but probably one of the biggest things, to me at least, you basically use nothing map specific in any of these high rounds, like at all. Your main strategy is find the best place to get salvage. That's step 1. Step 2, find the best place to spam mangler injectors, and that's it. That is your high round experience to a T. Now, the strategies in getting some of that salvage are a little bit different. Maybe you'll use a trap on Terminus, and then on Liberty Falls, you'll use Void Sheath with your knife and melee macchiato. But besides that, the main gameplay, the thing you are doing to get to those high rounds, is the exact same, bar nothing. And I would understand if some of you would say, oh, well, at least the Mangler Injector is fun, and you'd be right for the first 100 times you pop it. But after round like 150, you're literally just sitting there spamming your melee button going, wow, I didn't know my hand could hurt this bad from spamming the same key over and over again for 20 hours. And granted, that's being on the generous side. That's all it took me to get to 256, I think. To get to 999 on Liberty Falls, it takes something like 180. And for the average player, it's probably going to take something more like 200 hours. So good luck. And I can hear some people from the back saying, well, isn't every single zombies map just the same thing in high rounds? And to that point, I would say no, not at all. There are different strategies that quite frankly don't work in this game. For example, trap strategies in Black Ops 6 don't work because of, spoiler alert, the next point, the fucking mangler spam. But also, most traps just aren't placed that well on the map. And also, if you want to run away and say kill a horde while you're running away, well, the despawn distance for zombies is so small. Most of the time, you're only probably going to get 10, 15, maybe 20 kills if you're lucky enough, unless you stay right by the trap. And in high rounds, you really can't stay in one spot for any prolonged period of time, or you're gonna die. I would love to use something like the Void Cannon, but it just isn't possible with all the manglers shooting long-range projectiles at me. And the fact that they can CC you, and that most zombies are faster than you unless you're tack sprinting, because of that, training is nerfed a lot in this game, and it's not safe, nor is it anywhere near fast enough to justify how unsafe it is. Mangler spam is just so clearly the best strategy in this game, it's not worth doing anything else. Unlike in other games where you really could get away with your own different types of strategies, and make them up as you go along, figuring out what you like to do versus what the quote-unquote meta was. But now in this game, it's so clearly obvious there isn't a point to even trying anything else. And to be more specific as to why high rounds suck, let's actually move into the next few points that I have. And this doesn't even just affect high round players, it affects pretty much every single player that plays zombies regularly, and that is mini-boss spam. Treyarch, I need to genuinely sit down and ask you this. I don't think players like the enemy spam in the later maps in Cold War, or even earlier games like Black Ops 4, or even Black Ops 3 with Revelations or Gorod Krovi. So why are we continuing this trend? I can only look at the memes as I scroll on X and on YouTube, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, and just I die laughing when I just see oops, only manglers cereal just labeled. I would buy that. Treyarch, can you make that a thing? I will buy that personally. I'll give you 1,000 bones for that, I beg you. And the high round sucking don't just stop there. And again, this is an issue that rears its ugly head way before anything I would consider as high rounds. And what I mean by that is that the bug rounds are also way too freaking long. Even in the 30s, you start to notice that these quote-unquote max ammo rounds start to take a lot longer than you think they would. These are supposed to be max ammo rounds, you know, the thing that's supposed to give you ammo. So why is it in the hundreds I'm literally having to go buy ammo from the crate just to make sure I can get through the round? Doesn't that kind of defeat the entire purpose? The fact that these rounds somewhere in the 50s or even a bit later on are actually taking longer than zombie rounds it's flabbergasting to me. It genuinely doesn't make sense. And I actually have an example from my game directly. All right, so just comparing in my editing software, this is the beginning of bug round 250, as you can see right here. Now we're starting at 35 minutes and we are ending the round where I pick up the max ammo right here at 44:01, meaning this round took me 9 minutes. That's a pretty long max ammo round. Now, if we were to compare this with round 255, you will see that it is significantly shorter at only around 4 minutes in length. Over double the amount of time. That needs to be reduced in some way, shape, or form. Anyway, moving on, let's talk about another issue, and that is the constant reusing of the same mini bosses over and over and over again. And better yet, how about we just never bring back any more old special infected zombies or elite zombies for the rest of this game cycle, please? Can we have originality again in these games? I'm tired of seeing the manglers. I don't want to see the parasites returning from Shadows of Evil. I don't want the abomination that has been in zombies since MWZ, Outbreak, and Forsaken to return. I don't want any of it back. So please, can we get some more original ideas into the mini boss cycle? Or at least not make them as annoying as manglers, because the CC on that thing alone is the worst thing. I could go on a rant about this, but I'm not going to, just so that I can get this video out by the next fucking year. And speaking of just reusing the same mini bosses over and over again, let's now go over the Liberty Falls ending boss fight and its cutscene. The Easter egg itself on Liberty Falls, I genuinely don't think is that bad. It kind of feels like just a bunch of busy work, and it's really, really easy. It's definitely a Cold War-esque Easter egg, I'm not gonna lie to you. The boss fight on Liberty Falls is just hold out for 3 waves of enemies, 1 regular, 1 with one of the mini bosses you killed, I believe it's the Mangler, and then the 3rd wave, it's just the same thing except you kill the Abomination. Once you kill the Abomination, you go down, and then the thing is over. And I wish, number one, it didn't reuse the same mini bosses we had fight, but also had just spiced it up by making more zombies spawn and not them be all super sprinters. The idea of being completely swarmed in a very small environment would have made a lot more sense for this fight rather than just super sprinters appearing. And this ending cutscene. It's not so much that the ending cutscene is bad or has low quality, it's just that this has literally nothing to do with what the initial trailers for Liberty Falls were building up to. Where's the mansion? Where's Richthofen? Where's this giant sandball? Where's the Wunderwaffe? Where's Blanchard? Where's anything revolving the trailer? It almost feels like, I know this is weird to say, but it almost kind of feels like clickbait for a map, which is really funny to say out loud, but it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Absolutely nothing that was shown in the trailer was actually there in the game. I don't know, that's pretty funny to me, and it's a bit nitpicky, I will say, but I think it's a bit humorous to point out. So pardon that if that was a bit out of left field. But anyway, going back to some more fine-tuned gameplay systems, let's go over the mystery box and the wall weapons. There was an issue in Cold War that, well, they were pretty much useless. There was no point to actually going for them because you started with a loadout weapon that you wanted. So was this fixed in Black Ops 6? Is it better? Is there a reason to go for wall buys and the mystery box? No. At least for me, I personally don't see any reason why they would matter. I guess the only exception would be is that you load in with, say, just a regular assault rifle or whatever, and then you immediately buy the GS45s. But even then, it really doesn't matter because the Mustang and Sally's are so blatantly overpowered, or something like the ASG shotgun is just so good as a starting weapon, there's literally no point in getting wall weapons or using the mystery box. And that's a shame, because I do like the weapons, but again, with loadouts, who cares? You have the best weapons starting out. That's all that matters. And speaking of some more pointless stuff, let's go over the new perk, Melee Macchiato. I'm just gonna be honest, this is a really lackluster perk and it's really annoying. Melee Macchiato replaces your buttstock bash with a really shit 1-inch punch from Origins, and it's so bad right now. It genuinely doesn't feel good to use. The problem is, what happens is that when you actually go to melee someone, your character has to first put away the weapon and then you melee the guy, which results in this horrible delay, which basically makes the perk unusable with how terrible it feels, which is the advertised way to use the perk. The way that you actually use this perk is by combining it with your melee weapon and using it as a super fast, supercharged melee weapon, which yeah, isn't bad and does give the perk some point, but when the perk just feels so bad to use and only one map actually makes it so you should use Void Sheath with Melee Macchiato and your melee weapon, the perk's basically useless on one of the maps and there's no reason to get it. It's basically a waste of money. And with how perks scale in this game, if it's the last perk you have, that's like what? That's 6,000 points that you're wasting? That's a Pack-a-Punch weapon you could have gotten. That's multiple spins at the mystery box to see if you can get the wonder weapon. Another problem is that the perk seems to be really weirdly balanced. Like, the perk feels like it's terrible without augments, but with augments, it feels balanced. Like, that's how it actually just should be out the box. I don't know if maybe they were worried they were gonna make this perk too good and then nerfed it like ahead of launch. What a shame, because I think melee perks have a really long way to go and could be the most fun and best perks in the game. But until then, we'll just have to see what happens. Next up, I want to talk about a really annoying practice that's been happening with Call of Duty in general, but is now definitely in zombies as well, which is the removal of content from old games and then slowly drip feeding them to us. So for example, we are missing several field upgrades and also an alternate ammo type and a few other things. We're currently missing Tesla Storm, Toxic Growth, Frost Blast, and spoiler alert, go ahead like 20 seconds into the video if you don't want to know what's coming in Season 1. Apparently Shatter Blast is supposed to be returning in Season 1. We all know that you guys are running on the same engine. It's not like you can't just port these things over, so you might as well give us some amount of variety in the game, because right now there really is no point of using anything other than Aether Shroud. At least with something like Frost Blast or maybe Toxic Growth, you could counter super sprinters and maybe try and go for faster, more efficient strategies in the long term. So I don't understand why we're doing this, and I worry that they're gonna keep doing this in future zombie games if they don't change. Could you imagine the next game has like, I don't know, Cryo Freeze, Shatter Blast, Brain Rot, Napalm Burst, and then Fireworks from Black Ops 3, and then they slowly drip feed all of the other alternate ammo types from past games? You'd feel ripped off. That's annoying, and also it lessens the hype for new and exciting things that could take its place. It feels cheap to me. And also, speaking of feeling cheap, the AFK timer in multiplayer is way too fast. And actually, no, better question. Why the hell is it even here to begin with? I enlisted the help of my friend and we decided to see how long the AFK timer was. So to see if you could still use the bathroom, maybe look up an Easter egg guide, or just do something for your family. And nope, the AFK timer in which you are kicked is 4 minutes. That's it. From start, hey, I gotta go do something for my mom real quick. I'll be right back. Can you hold the zombie? And you have 4 minutes. That's all you got. And if you can't do that, you will be kicked from the game. And worst of all, if you get kicked from the game and you rejoin, which you're allowed to do, you do not keep anything. None of your perks, none of your guns, not even your points. You basically spawn in with nothing. And with the way that the point system works in this game, joining late with nothing is a death sentence. You will not be able to get back on your feet. It's awful. And to the next point, an excellent segue, the point system in this game is complete and utter garbage. It makes no sense with how expensive everything is. 5,000, 15,000, 30,000 for Pack-a-Punch tiers. Legendary wall weapons costing, I think it's 4,000 or 5,000 points. Epic costing 3,200 points to buy. Perks escalating in cost. The buyable door seemingly costing a lot more and increasing in price if you're in co-op. And again, like I said, if you get kicked for AFK, this new point system is going to kick you in the ass. There's no way for you to get back on your feet, and with how expensive ammo is to buy, you really need to watch out with your points, especially if you're in multiplayer, because you're gonna have so many zombies, you will eventually need to buy ammo. Now, it's not totally unsalvageable. There are some things they can do to improve the point system. For example, if they don't want to go all the way back to the old point system, they could do the Black Ops 4 point system of damage being your points. This is a much better way of doing points than what it is currently, because for some ungodly reason, they decided that melee should give you less points than headshots? What? One of the fun things about insta-kill in pretty much every single game is that you would go in and try and melee as many zombies as possible on insta-kill because A, it was really fun to do, and B, it rewarded you for taking the risk of getting in close where zombies can hit you, but you get more points in return. In this game, you get nothing. You just do headshots and then that's it. It's really boring. And again, I don't think makes any sense in terms of balancing either. Why would you reward the player for being safer, not taking any risks and getting the headshot, rather than going in where they can potentially die and get a melee kill instead? Weird. And finally, to round out the bad section, in this admittedly kind of nitpick list at the very back end, armor. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to say two things about it. Number one, I still don't like armor. I still really prefer the shield system of older games. However, to its credit, you need armor if you want the idea of a super fast-paced zombie mode to work, because it physically does not work without it. Go ahead, try and use the turtle shield augment on Juggernog in high rounds. You will have the worst experience of your life. It is not fun to play like that. You get one-shotted by amalgamations, manglers when they shoot at you deal insane amounts of damage, and pretty much the only time you're safe is when you're running away. But the problem is, you're eventually gonna have to turn around and kill zombies anyway. But hey, I guess that's fixed because all you have to do for high rounds is just spam mangler injectors to begin with. And finally, with all the negatives and all the good that I've had to say, let's get into what I believe my final score for this game will be. Before I say my final score, I want to have a few concluding thoughts. Number one, I do think that this game has a bright future, but I seriously have questions for its longevity. I don't think this game, if it keeps going down this very stubborn path of modern zombies formula, is going to have a lot of the replayability features and have anywhere near as much of a following as something like Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 3 have. Because I don't want this game to turn into another Cold War where they make improvements on the system and then it be completely irrelevant after the better game comes out. Because every game up to the modern zombies formula had a unique style and feel to it. They all felt different. And that feeling is something you can never take away from any one game. Even the really bad games and the really good games, they all had that to them. But in this game, it really is just kind of like a better Cold War with some Black Ops 3 sprinkled on top of it. And I think that is the true caveat of this game, is that in my opinion, it should have been more Black Ops 3 with Cold War sprinkled on top rather than Cold War sprinkled with some Black Ops 3. And I think that with all that's been said, I'm feeling a light to decent 7 on this game. Definitely a work in progress, but we'll see how it goes from here. Oh, and also, before you leave, if you all would like to give me a great birthday gift, as it was only a few days ago, could you please hit that like and sub button? Oh, and also, come and hang out in the Rotten Refuge Zombie Discord server. There will be a link in the description below. And also, I want to give a few shout-outs before I end this video. A big thank you to the one and only J.R. Rizzo. This guy was one of the major people that inspired me to start making videos to begin with, and was a huge influence in this video. I'm very sorry my editing is definitely nowhere near as good as J.R. Rizzo, but I hope one day I can get to that point as well. And I would also like to give a shout out to some other people I've been talking to in the community, or some people that I think need to be highlighted in the community as well. People like No Name here, Lam Riley, CJ Santa, the Lucario Project, Beware the Sixth, and Xenia. Thank you all so much for the support and also the great community that we have. Let's keep it going. And as always, guys, peace out. See y'all in the next video. Take care.